prettier ball. Like, I like the winning part on that. Peter King is now joining us via the Cower Global Satellite Network. Football Morning in America, NBC. I got to tell you, I thought I was wildly entertaining. If you'd have told me 2 weeks ago, New York Giants at Tampa, I just said I'll pass. I found it wildly entertaining. I'm rooting for Daniel Jones. I really did. I couldn't. My wife came over. She didn't like football. She's like, oh, this is fun. What did you make of it?
I made that's what the Giants should have done at the beginning of this year. They have put off replacing Eli Manning, and I understand the loyalty to him, but they've put it off for far too long. And it was time. It was long past time. And Colin, when you knew that everything had changed is when they called a design run pass option, right away, early in the first half.
Yep.
When, he faked it, he put it in the gut of Saquon Barkley and then pulled it out and ran around the right side. And he scored a 7-yard touchdown. I mean, he scored half as many touchdowns in that game, basically, as Manning has run for in his career. I'm exaggerating, but it's close. And the Giants now have a 2019 quarterback. They used to have a 1995 quarterback. And all I know is that you can win with the 1995 quarterback, but I would rather have, if the 1995 quarterback isn't winning, then let's go with the 2019 quarterback. And wisely, Pat Shurmur made that call.
And by the way, Baltimore moved off Flacco. They're happy. Giants moved off Eli. They're happy. Arizona moved off Josh Rosen. They're happy. You can go back. We looked at this morning. Buffalo moved off Tyrod Taylor, who made the playoffs. They're happy. Everybody that's moved off their quarterback. And some of these quarterbacks, Eli, Flacco, they'd been to Super Bowls. Everybody's working. The young quarterbacks are working. So I look at Cam. And, I mean, listen, we're 9 years into this thing. He's not physically the same. 59% completion percentage. Quarterback rating 85. Kyle Allen comes in, who was a spotty college quarterback, but a great high school quarterback. He's got a good arm, and everything works Sunday. Now, it's Arizona, but everything works. All these teams, Peter, that are moving off quarterbacks, it's working. And the teams that are stubborn, maybe a Cincinnati, maybe a Tennessee, they're stuck. I wonder with Cam and this injury now, which they say is going to be multiple weeks, is Carolina looking at Kyle Allen saying, this is our break. This is our opportunity to see if we have the next guy in the building. Do you think that's true?
I mean, they're doing it out of necessity right now, and they're basically saying, Ron Rivera and the offensive coordinator, Norv Turner, are basically saying, let's see what happens. I think it's unfair to judge Cam Newton on the first 2 weeks of this year. Number one, he had a bad foot from a preseason injury. And number two, like he told me in training camp, he was going to be a different quarterback in 2019 than he had been earlier in his career. You take those two things, plus the fact that no quarterback coming off shoulder surgery is going to have the howitzer that he had.
Right.
And he's not going to play the same as the way he had. So I think it's brutally unfair to judge what Cam Newton did in the first 2 weeks and to say, well, if Kyle Allen plays, they got to replace Cam Newton. Cam Newton was a work in progress. We'll see if that still happens. I don't know if it will. But, hey, Kyle Allen has got a chance. He looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Even though he was playing a bad defensive team, he looked really good. Now, a bigger test comes on the road in Houston when he's got to play a team that's going to chase him all over the field down in Houston.
Lamar Jackson, 8-2 as a starter, only lost to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I said this yesterday. It happens occasionally where I watch a team lose and I'm more impressed with them than I am in wins. They never gave up. I think their offensive line is excellent. Their running game's tremendous. Lamar, to me, they've got a point of view and an identity. I still can't figure out Cleveland's identity. I'm not blaming Baker. I can't figure it out. I know exactly what Baltimore is and what they do well. I got to tell you, I think Baltimore, everybody knows New England, Kansas City's good. I think Baltimore's the third best team in the AFC. I think Lamar's getting better. It's happening in front of our eyes. He's obviously coachable. He's bulked up. I came out of that Kansas City game, and I'm like, I think I'm finally all in on Lamar. Am I overreacting?
No, you're not. In fact, for my column next Monday, I'm doing a big chunk on Baltimore because I think that they're the type of team that on December 1st could be a lot better than they are on October 1st. Because they have a young quarterback who's young and growing and learning, and especially if Earl Thomas can stay healthy and they can continue to mature on defense, that's going to be a team that can beat anybody anywhere.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious yesterday. I forget where I read this, but somebody did, people do power rankings, and somebody said that Baltimore dropped one spot to number 6 in their power rankings. Now, hold on a minute. They played the most explosive team we've seen in football in years. They played this incredible offensive machine at home with this quarterback who's on pace to throw for 6,400 yards and 54 touchdowns or something absurd like that. But they took the Kansas City Chiefs right down to the end and lost by 5. And you drop them in your rankings? I mean, it's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. But I do think now Baltimore is that one team that, and I'm just telling you, Colin, they are built to last.
Yes.
Because they always, always, always gather more draft choices through compensatory picks. That is one team that if I'm a fan of a team right now and I want to be a fan of a team for like the next 10 years, obviously Kansas City, I get it. Obviously the Rams, but don't overlook Baltimore.
Yeah, I think the Rams have their issues. I don't think Todd Gurley's the same player, and that's no knock on anybody, but he did. Yet I have not seen the juice of the first couple years in the league. Peter King's joining us, NBCSports.com. Peter, it's really remarkable. There was a time very recently where 50% of first-round quarterbacks busted. The last 15, only Paxton Lynch hasn't worked. Everybody works now. I think it's a great sign for the NFL. I'm not a huge fan of Trubisky, but he's winning games, and I can't criticize him. Kyler Murray's better than I thought. Daniel Jones is better than I thought. I want to go now to Aaron Rodgers, because we've always put Aaron in the veteran Hall of Fame class. We know he's good, but their offense has been clunky early. Now, it is the Bears, the Vikings, and Denver. Give me your takeaway, your macro view on what we've seen on Green Bay. Aaron, post-McCarthy, LaFleur that we had doubts about, the veteran guy we expect. What do you make of Green Bay, their offense, how it's all clicking? They play Thursday night, by the way, against Philadelphia at home, a huge game for both.
Well, I think the one thing that you can say about the Green Bay offense is that Aaron Rodgers takes the field knowing that he doesn't have to score 33 points every week to win.
That's right.
He knows now that he's got a defense. Brian Gutekunst, the general manager in the offseason, not only did he think, of course, this is a huge decision. Who's going to be our head coach? Who can really go head-to-head with Aaron Rodgers? We need to find somebody who Aaron Rodgers is going to respect and is going to, go head-to-head with and be a good partner of in terms of the game plan and all that. But in addition, they had to find a defense that was going to be competitive. So they went out and spent $1 jillion on the Smith brothers, Preston and Zadarius. And on Sunday, when they really needed a boost defensively, those two guys combined for 5 sacks. And I think now going forward, what you're doing in building that defense up is that you're giving Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur a chance to mature into a very good offensive team. It wasn't going to come right away. If you tell Aaron Rodgers, we want to play tempo, he's never played tempo his whole life. I'm not saying he's occasionally hasn't gone no huddle, but mostly he comes to the line. He's a thoughtful guy. Okay. And now Matt LaFleur wants him to let's go. Continue to put the pressure on the defense. Not necessarily going no huddle, but coming to the line and snapping it with 12 seconds to go. Let's go. Play fast. And so Aaron Rodgers has to adjust to that. He will, and I still think this will be a top 6 or 8 offensive team by December. By
the way, do you think Cleveland unravels here a little bit? I think they're going to lose at Baltimore, to New England, to Denver. It's a young team, Freddie Kitchens. I don't put a lot of this on Baker. I've been critical of Baker, but there's a lot of issues here. Fundamentally, their owner moves off coaches. Baker's now now in his third head coach in his second year. Do you think they unravel over the next couple of weeks with that schedule, or do you trust them?
I mean, think about this schedule. Baltimore, San Francisco, Seattle, New England. I mean, this is a team right now that, okay, they're 1-2, and, you know, the Rams are a tough team to beat anywhere. So I get that one. But this is a team that really, you're right. You talked about Aaron Rodgers being clunky on offense. This is a clunky offensive team.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, if I could give Freddie Kitchens one piece of advice, if he wants to call the plays, then he needs to give the authority of things like clock management and some other things. He needs to think about giving that away.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with him. I'm fine with him holding on to, holding on to offensive play calling. That's fine. He's good at it. He was terrible on Sunday because I think he's thinking about too many things.
Yeah.
Hey, look, a year ago, he was the running backs coach.
Yeah.
What's your authority? Hey, put this guy in nickel. I mean, you don't have any huge job. And now he's got the biggest job of them all, and he's got the weight of great expectations on his shoulders. There's just too much to think about, and that was an ugly end of the Rams game on Sunday night. Yeah,
I don't put all this on Baker. I think these young guys need support. Lamar's getting support. Baker's not getting as much support, and it's fun to watch, but it could unravel quick. Peter King, NBC Sports, Football Morning in America. Good stuff, Peter. Love having you.